rusted latches swinging in the wind. The side I turned to saw where it's been. I saw the shadow stretching long and thin, a debt that waits till autumn days begin. The dust is resting on the tractor's steel, while bitter steps crush down the winter meal. The hounds stay silent underneath the eaves. They made no sound when lantern light did leave. A heavy streak now stains the cedar tight, the kind that won't wash clean in morning light. The silver moon is rotting like old food. The soil craves the twisted blackwood root. There is blood on the barn door, darker than the grapes upon the vine. There is blood on the barn door, drawing lines so jagged and unkind. The wind cries through the empty space. The price of mercy leaves no trace. I found the hammer in the frozen ground, beside the fading pulse of flood's last sound. No tracks escape across the stony land. The gate stands wide, but rooms won't understand. The hay drinks deep what metal made to flow. A crimson tide room that old grass does grow. Well, there's blood on the barn door, darker than the grapes upon the vine. There is blood on the barn door, drawing lines so jagged and unkind. The wind cries through the empty space. The price of mercy leaves no trace. The dust lies heavy on the rusted gate. The mayor trades favors sealing his fate. The priest polishes gold that lost its shine. The merchant counts coins from a stolen line. Their horses are tired, the sky turns to gray. The map holds a secret to the yesterday. It starts at the fountain where the water turned black, near the clock that struck, never turning back. The road to hell runs straight through town, past the velvet curtains where the king fell down. Every brick in the road is a promise betrayed, while the watchmen sleep and the good ones fade. It doesn't begin where the flames are found. The road to hell is the path through town. The judge in the polished stains his sleeve red. I'm all the praise for her hungry to be fed. Children play with stones in the dirt. The river brings more than just flood and hurt. The signpost leads where no birds remain. Beggars fight for bones in the rain. You think you're leaving, but you're stuck in place, trapped in the traffic of your own disgrace. The road to hell through town. Past the velvet curtains where the king fell down. Every brick in the road is a power speed train, while the watchmen sleep and the dirt ones fade. It doesn't begin where the flames are found. The road to hell is the cab through town. The roadside altar leans toward the ditch. Iron weeds grow thick and black like pitch. A traveler trades his gold for a stitch in a coat that won't bring youth back rich. The wind sells grit that makes you twitch, scouring names off stone so rich. I watched the lamp lit by a man so straight, who gave up on fate's heavy tread. There's a hole where thunder made its call. Now just a pale gray curtain falls. Promises hammered in silver walls, eaten by rust as time befalls. The preacher sweeps but dirt won't crawl. The plaster cracks and meaning stall. He searches signs but gets no call. His crumbling whispers make him small. The airways heavy with old fears. Words we threw up disappeared. There's fell like tears through salted years, and not so hollow and unclear. Just grit and hand and tongues that stun, climbing ladders with no first fun. Every bell song is all done. We're shadows waiting for the sun. Just grit in hand and tongues that stun, climbing ladders with no first fun. Every bell song is all done. We're shadows waiting for the sun. A woman shows her palms design, says rivers died and droughts come fine. She sings with charcoal's bitter line, a fort sunk deep in mud's resign. Points to wrecks where gods decline, too tired, weak to hear our whine. The airways heavy with old fears. Words we flew up disappeared. They fell like tears through salted years, and not so hollow and unclear. Just grit in hand and tongues that stun, climbing ladders with no first fun. Every bell phone is long gone, with shadows waiting for the sun. Just grit in hand and tongues that stun, climbing ladders with no first fun. Every bell's phone is long gone, with shadows waiting for the sun. Shadows waiting for the sun. Yeah. Shadows, just grit in hand and tongues that stun. The dust lies heavy on the porch floor so old. The moon hangs rusty like a torch, losing hope. I watch you dig by the creek where willows weep, burying promises too broken to keep. The barrel's cold and the hammer's pulled back right, just dying weight in the belly of the night. Your eyes like shattered glass painting the frame, trying to wash the mud with bottle and rain. One barrel loaded with the truth you denied, one heavy burden the wind cast aside. Smoke curls upward from your hollow chest, where all your quiet little lies came to rest. It's a metal weight and a shadow so sore we can't lock the latch on that Hollywood door. Whoa, yeah. There's a hole in the garden where roses once thrived, now filled with secrets neighbors won't derive. You mumbled debts unpaid in your sleep while I counted shells and choices so deep. The wooden stock rests on my shoulder bed. Every second age is a world we share. Pray to the dirt or plead to the sky, but secrets our birds never meant to fly. One barrel loaded with the truth you denied, one heavy burden the wind cast aside. Smoke curls upward from your hollow chest, where all your quiet little life came to rest. It's a metal weight and a shadow so sore you can't lock the latch on that Hollywood door. Oh, yeah. One barrel loaded with the truth you denied, one heavy burden the wind cast aside. Smoke curls upward from your hollow chest, where all your quiet little lies came to rest. It's a metal weight and a shadow so sore we can't lock the latch on that Hollywood door. Oh, yeah. The iron gates swing wide beneath the bruised and purple sky. The shadow on the platform never asks you how or why. The wood is seasoned heavy with the secrets it must keep, while righteous citizens are lost in shallow sleep. Across your weary spine, the notes fall down like heavy stones in some forgotten mind. Don't speak to me of mercy or the way the river flows. The man who holds a plectrum is the only one who knows. The canyon walls are shaking with a resonance so deep. It wakes the ancient promises we swore we'd never keep. lullaby into the belly of the night. No coin can buy a parcel when the music starts to swell. From the gallows to the garden where the lonely spirits dwell. Has a cold and crooked bite. It plays a jagged lullaby into the belly of the night. No coin can buy a pardon when the music starts to swell. On the gallows through the garden where the lonely spirits dwell. Dust has settled on the southern interstate, a heavy shadow leaning on my garden gate. I traded gold for a pocket full of rusted nails. I watched the moonlight wither on the cattle rail. I told the preacher I was born a restless son, with a debt collected before the race was run. Saw him standing where the cedar trees divide, with a hollow grin and nothing left to hide. He didn't ask for silver or a lock of hair. He just sat beside me in the evening air. He knew the secrets that the canyon tried to keep, while the honest people were tangled in the sleep. The devil knows my name and how I spend my time. He tracks the distance of every crooked climb. He calls me brother like a long-forgotten friend, waiting for the highway where the payment has to end. He doesn't haunt the dark or rattle iron chains. He just walks beside me through the freezing rain. I tried to drown the memory in a shallow well, but the water tasted like a sulfur spell. Every bridge I crossed began to smoke and burn, with no direction left for a soul to turn. The cards are dealt upon a table made of bone. I am the harvest that the wind has sown. The mirror reflects a stranger in the grass, watching all the seasons and the mercies past. There is no hiding in the thicket or the town, where the ancient legend starts to weigh you down. The devil knows my name and how I spend my time. He tracks the distance of every crooked climb. He calls me brother like a long-forgotten friend, waiting for the highway where the pavement has to end. He doesn't haunt the dark or rattle iron chains. He just walks beside me through the freezing rain. How I spend my time. He tracks the distance of every crooked climb. He calls me brother like a long-forgotten friend, waiting for the highway where the pavement has to end. He doesn't haunt the dark or rattle iron chains. He just walks beside me through the freezing rain. The iron wheels are grinding on a rail of rusted bone. The sun is sinking heavy like a pocket full of stone. I watched the valley swallow up the shadows of the grain, and felt the hollow promise of a locomotive train. The conductor has a face that looks like parchment in the wind. He counts the copper pennies for the places we have sinned. This steam is rising ghost-like through the gaps inside the floor. There is a tattered velvet curtain hanging by the door. We pass the skeletal remains of towns without a name, where every window pane is shuttered in a frame of shame. The silver watch is ticking, but the hands have gone to sleep, and there are secrets in the cold that we were meant to keep. The whistle blows a jagged tune across the canyon floor. We are knocking on a silent and a barricaded door. The red dirt turns to charcoal as the sky begins to bleed. We are sowing on the harvest from a bitter kind of seed. On the final track to Blackwater, the lanterns all go dim, and the river waits in silence for the soul to sink or swim. A gambler in the corner holds a hand he cannot play. He says the cards were dealt before the breaking of the day. The woman in the widow's weeds is staring at the rain. She is trying to remember how to feel a different pain. The engine breathes a heavy fire against a freezing night. We are searching for a shadow in a world of blinding light. The landscape is a portrait painted by a shaking hand of a desperate and a dry and an unforgotten land. The trestle bridge is creaking like a gallows in the breeze, and a winter wind is crawling through the naked aspen trees. The ledger books are open and the ink is turning black. There is no use in looking for a way of turning back. The station bell is tolling like a hammer on each bell. The stories that the passengers are far too tired to tell. The brakes are screaming out a name I used to call my own, a counter path of gravel and of jagged paving stone. The whistle blows a jagged tune across the canyon floor. We are knocking on a silent and a barricaded door. Red dirt turns to charcoal as the sky begins to bleed. We are sowing all the harvest from a bitter kind of seed. On the final track to Blackwater, the lanterns all go dim, and the river waits in silence for a soul to sink or swim. Iron frost bites deep where the limestone lies. Cedar trees bend under heavy old skies. A stone cabin stands wrapped in rusted and moss, watching the carriage track fade and get lost. She counts all the seasons by color so deep, gathering kindling before night will creep. Each night in the pine holds a memory so cold, measured in hammers and nails worn in old. The clock on the mantle stays frozen in time. The tea in the porcelain tastes like the rime. No letter rhymes though the wind whispers low. No shadow across her old threshold of woe. High on the ridge where the jackals don't tread, she carries her lantern of bone and a dread, waiting for salt to turn back into snow. Queen of the briars where no light will go. graveyard of flame, but she holds the summit and bears every name. The miners left copper to sleep in the dark, but she keeps a fire that won't leave a mark. They say she can hear when the mountain takes breath, before winter comes bringing its cloak of cold death. She wears a devotion so fragile and clear, like water that's frozen, yet sharp as a spear. High on the ridge where the jackals don't tread, she carries her lantern of bone and of dread, waiting for a soul to turn back in the snow. Queen of the briars, there go, I will go. The valley below is a graveyard of flame, but she holds a summit and bears every name. High on the ridge where the jackals don't tread, she carries her lantern of bone and of dread, waiting for a soul to turn back in the snow. Queen of the briars, where I go, I will go. The valley below is a graveyard of flame, but she holds a summit and bears every name. The gravel crunches under rusted steel, a heavy hand makes the spinning wheel kneel. The dashlight glows in sickly green, the loneliest sight I've ever seen. Black oaks lean to catch my word, shadows stir like some dark bird. The engine causing riving sound, waiting till the stars come around. The signpost sways beneath moon's glow, humming tunes from long ago. One foot stands where I was bred, the other sees the road ahead. White lines fade in grass so tall, ghosts of seasons watch them fall. A suitcase filled with debts unpaid, a silver flash to drown mistakes made. The clock stands still on county side, water turns to bitter wine. Midnight at the county line, we're broken past in future twine. The map is torn, the ink won't last, building dream from shattered past. Between the pine and willow tree, lost and no one else can see. I check the mirror for my face, but find just mid and endless space. The radio just moans and cries, a summer for the lonesome rides. Crickets hush and we land, as engine plants its iron brand. The valley waits behind the gate, testing what's ordained by fate. The clock stands still on county side, water turns to bitter wine. Midnight at the county line, we're broken past and future twine. The map is torn, the ink won't last, building a dream from shattered past. Between the pine and willow tree, lost where no one else can see. A single light blinks on the hill, the world stands silent, deathly still. If I cross this ridge tonight, I'll vanish like smoke out of sight. Asphalt feels like velvet deep, bleeding where the angels sleep. I pour my collar to the chill, with empty miles left to fill. Midnight at the county line, we're broken didn't offer a prayer or a sign, just a heavy silver ribbon pulling past a pine. He stepped where the bank turns to powder and dust, leaving his shadow to gather the rust. No struggle erupted, no cry broke the air. The willow just tangled his fingers in hair. A hollow reflection is all that remains of a man who washed out of his earthly constraints. The water owns the secret and the stone. It claims the marrow and it claims the bone. Down where the channel is cold and deep, it's a long dark promise that the valleys keep. Everything heavy eventually goes where the mouth of the delta eternally flow. The river took him without a single word, the quietest thieving that I ever heard. The water owns a secret and the stone. It claims the marrow and it claims the bone. Down where the channel is cold and deep, it's a long dark promise that the valleys keep. Everything heavy eventually goes where the mouth of the delta eternally flow. The river took him without a single word, the quietest thieving that I ever heard. His boots are still sitting on the jagged north shore, waiting for feet that won't walk anymore. The village will talk of the rain and the flood, but it wasn't the fury, it wasn't the mud. It was a slow invitation, a magnetic pull, a heart getting empty while the basin got full. Now he's drifting through canyons of limestone and silt, behind all the hunger and beyond all the guilt. The meats bow their heads in a funeral line. The sun hits the surface like a vintage wine. There is no returning from a journey so fluid. The trail is forgotten, the witness is lucid. The water owns the secret and the stone. It claims the level and it claims the bone. Down where the channel is cold and deep, it's a long dark promise that the valleys keep. Everything heavy eventually goes where the mouth of the delta eternally sows. The river took him without a single word, the quietest thieving have I ever heard. The water owns the secret and the stone. It claims the marrow and it claims the bone. Down where the channel is cold and deep, it's a long dark promise that the valleys keep. Everything heavy eventually goes where the mouth of the delta eternally flows. The river took him without a single word, the quietest thieving have I ever heard. The dust has settled on the porch tonight. I carry a glass and grain beneath moonlight. A silver flash shines in the dim so bright, pouring slow whiskey for the dead just right. Old Bill rests down by the cedar tree. His thirst could drown a rolling creek so free. I leave a double measure tenderly for secrets that the snow won't set me free. The harvest fair, the fields turn to dust. A man needs something strong to hold his trust. He crossed the river, shadows turned to rust. Left his heavy boots in the land so just. Let amber spirits find a hollow ground to all upon. But brothers cold and bound, there's holy silence in the only sound of liquid fire washing all around. Is pulled, the vapor starts to rise. like phantom prayers reaching for the skies. 1,000 tired eyes and broken lies reflected in the jars where hope still dies. Let amber spirit find the hollow ground to warm the bone. A brother's cold and bound. There's holy silence in the only sound of liquid fire washing all around. Let amber spirit find a hollow ground to warm the bones. A brother's cold and bound. There's holy silence in the only sound of liquid fire washing all around. The floorboards groan beneath the dust so old. A heavy iron key now red with rust and cold. The morning sun cuts like a blade so bright through remnants of a fevered, haunted night. One hand seeks a verse to make me whole. The other holds a cure that burns my soul. Black leather binding worn along the spine. A label peels from gallons of dark wine. The prophet speaks of floods and parted seas, while liquid drowns my soul in amber ease. There are lions lurking where the light grows pale, and angels waiting for the final nail. The spirit yearns, but blood runs cold as stone between the ancient words and truths unknown. The wooden cross, a glass bead in my hand, one for the light and one for the damned. One speaks of mercy in the clouds above, the other is a shroud of hollow love. One offers water turned to crimson deep, the other shows where ghostly shadows creep. A stone so cold, a glass so frail and thin, waiting for the winter to begin. The clock no longer chimes upon the shelf. The pages stained with time and lost itself. I read of gardens where the serpents lie, then tilt the bottle watching hours die. The Savior and the poison side by side, with nowhere left to run or left to hide. One says I wander far from home so true, the other calls me king in transient view. A lighthouse gleams where shipwrecks meet the sand, where bitter souls and hallowed finally stand. I'll lay them down when night begins to fade, and count the price of every deal I made. The spirit yearns, but blood runs cold as stone between the ancient words and truths unknown. The wooden cross, the glass bead in my hand, one for the light and one for the damned. One speaks of mercy ghostly shadows creep, a stone so cold, a glass so frail and thin, waiting for the winter to begin. The ivy chokes the iron gate where rust has turned red. I walk the jagged path to find the silent dead. The steeple casts a shadow where no light is spread, where secrets sleep in beds with nothing to be said. A crow sits on the weather cross, counting the years of vanity and loss that drowned in fallen tears. The shadows stretch like hands and no one ever hears. The grass grows tall where sunlight disappears. The wind blows colder through the cracks upon the wall, waiting for the autumn leaves to tremble and to fall. The grave behind the church is buried deep in a weed, beyond the reach of all prayer and empty creed. The bells may ring at noon, but mercy won't concede beneath the weight of yesterdays that no one will heed. No flowers bloom in winter where the truth may hide. No candles burn at night where all the stories die. I recall the elders spoke of fever and a gale, how ships went down and left a frozen ghostly trail. They laid it where the earth is hard and cold and pale, a tale untold now covered by a withered veil. No gold remains, no marble marks the resting place, just heavier than silence in this golden embrace. The vicar turns away with hurried, fearful pace. The dirt is patient, darkness lingers with no grace. The grave behind the church is buried deep in weed, beyond the reach of hollow prayer and empty creed. The bells may ring at noon, but mercy won't concede beneath the weight of yesterdays that no one will heed. No flowers bloom in winter where the truth may hide. No candles burn at night, there all the stories die. Dust has settled in the hollows of the red clay soul, where the iron gates lean against the weight of time. The old mailbox is choked with vines and rusted coal, and the sunlight fails to make the porch steps climb. I saw a shadow flicker by the shed where the tractors ride, the silhouette of someone that the town map had forgot. There is no gravel crunching under the final weight, only the wind filtering through the dry and brittle corn. A silver pocket watch hanging from a garden gate, counting hours for a house that looks so weary and warm. The neighbors moved to the valley with a well-worn dry, leaving nothing but the skeletons beneath the open sky. Oh, the ghosts forgotten sea. The creek is a scar of stones and bleached whites, and the maples have turned to charcoal in the heat. A testament to the labor of a calloused hand. Now the silence is the only thing that feels complete. Every shingle that falls is a memory lost to the ground, in a place where the stillness is the loudest sound. Oh, I found a photograph in the frame of splintered oak, a face staring back with eyes like a distant fire. Before the fields were swallowed by the rising smoke, before the telephone line was stripped of their wire. The spirits don't want to rattle their heavy chains. They just wait for the clouds to bring the vanished rain. The direction of the wind has changed its heavy tone. The timber is groaning like a ship lost at sea. The foundation is crumbling stone by heavy stone. Seven remnants of the past finally free. Hey. Oh, the ghosts of cottonwood below the walking line, tracing the footsteps of a century gone by. They don't need a candle to navigate the night, looking for a harvest they will never find. The asphalt cracked and gave way to the weeds, sowing the ghosts of 1,000 forgotten seeds. Oh, the ghosts climb the boulder walking line, tracing the footsteps of a century gone by. They don't need a candle to navigate the night, looking for a harvest they will never find. The asphalt cracked and gave way to the weeds, sowing the ghosts of 1,000 forgotten seeds. Oh, the ghosts. The willow leans heavy on the limestone bank, where the rusted gears of the turbine sank. I saw a shadow walking on the muddy floor, with a heavy coat and a face I didn't know. He carried a lantern that burned cold and blue, telling fortunes to the reeds and the evening dew. The cattle huddled tight by the cedar gate, while the wind began to howl like a hand of fate. There is the stranger waiting through the shallow bend, bringing a message that the broken cannot mend. He counts the silver coins and the pick rolls out, under the hollow of a bruising purple sky. Miller's Creek is rising past the garden stone, leaving every honest man to sleep alone. The devil has a thirst that the rain can't slake. Watch the circles widening upon the lake. Didn't come for gold or the winter wheat. He didn't leave a print for his heavy feet. The dogs went silent when the crickets stopped, and the heavy latch on the cellar dropped. He knows the secret kept beneath the floor, and while the iron bolt stays across the door. Old man Miller had a debt he couldn't pay, so he walked into the water at the break of day. Now the current drags a heavy iron chain, and the clouds are weeping with a bitter stain. You can hear a fiddle playing in the pines, tracing out the boundaries of the property lines. The creature stays inside with the Bible shut, while the jacket's always resting near the wooden cut. The lantern flickers on the gravel bar, darker than the coal of a dying star. The bullfrogs quit the chanting in the mud, and the water turns the color of a heart's own blood. There is a stranger waiting through the shallow bend, bringing a message that the broken cannot mend. He counts the silver coins in the big pool's eye, under the hollow of a bruising purple sky. Miller's Creek is driving past the garden stone, leaving every honest man to sleep alone. The devil had a thirst that the rain can't sate. Watch the circles winding upon the lake. rattlesnake sleeps near the limestone ledge. Red light bleeds where the canyon ends. Dust settles down on the twisted pine, shadows stretch in a jagged line. The creek runs dry, just a cracked white clay. Water vanished on a summer day. The coyote howls a hollow sound across the thirsty barren ground. Ghosts of cattle hide in sage like ink stains on a yellowed page. Dry wind scrapes through the dying corn, waiting for the light reborn. Blood moon rises over Dry Creek tonight, drowning stars in the heavy light. Valley holds its breath in rust, changing stones and breeds of dust. Iron sky begins to break, shivering for mercy's sake. Porch swing creaks a steady beat, restless feet can't stand the heat. Will his empty bucket gone, staring at the crimson dawn. Clouds like bruises fill the air, not a single drop to spare. Blood moon